Alright, so there's been so much controversy about the Frenzy and how powerful it is. And the devs actually responded. You know, everyone is talking about the Frenzy, and in Act 2, Episode 2, we might actually see some changes on these things. Like, these Frenzies are so powerful, you simply cannot stop them when you're in a hand of a good aimer. And there is something that everyone hates, and that is the Frenzy and the Stinger. They're super cheap, but they're super strong, and even pros are talking about them. If you ever join a Twitch stream and you will see a pro getting killed by a Frenzy or getting kills with a Frenzy, he will simply say, wow, this weapon is very strong. And more pros have even tweeted about it. So Nitro and more Valorant pros call for a nerf to Frenzy and Stinger meta. Now, I will be telling how the developers responded to this, and Nicholas Nitro Canella and Jake Caboose McDonald and more Valorant pros have spoken out about the Frenzy and the Stinger meta in Valorant, making the game feel heavy reliant on RNG. So it didn't matter if you had the best aim in the world, because simply put, you would get destroyed by these two cheap weapons that you can buy simply on every single round, regardless of how you performed last round, right? And you could get some crazy shots, like literally, you could win the rounds just by using Frenzy, and it's pretty crazy how it can compare itself to even higher weapons as the Bulldog, or sometimes even a Vandal without the armor, just due to the RPG really. And there's been a ton of talk from the community about potential changes to Valorant that would make a better playing experience, because right now, Stinger and the Frenzy are a huge problem, and probably will be even after the nerf, but I'm not sure about that. One glaring problem is how cheap it is. The automatic pistol Frenzy and SMG Stinger are, and they impact the HIF in the early half, okay? The Frenzy is priced at 400 creds, and the Stinger can be purchased with 1000 creds, and that's really cheap. That's like going to a store and seeing like there's an Apple sale and you want to buy all the apples there. Like, you can't get it for much cheaper, but there aren't the prize weapons you want in a full buy round, but their RNG makes them incredibly valuable in the opening rounds of half, according to pros. Pistol rounds have been more RNG than I thought that it was even humanly possible with this Frenzy meta. 100 Thieves Nitro set, so even the pros agree with this. And even Mel responded, watching plus playing the first 3 rounds of a game is just boring, knowing that it's a coin flip on you running Frenzy plus Stinger, or a Stinger, RNG versus other teams. It's really important to note here that this also improves the other ranks being really much harder than in lower ranks where you could just play a Classic or a Ghost and still be fine. Here the pros are basically just gonna play the Stinger or the Frenzy every early round, and it really ruins the game, doesn't it? Well, at least until you get that Vandal or Phantom, and then you can simply destroy such Frenzies, but before that, this kicked off a large discussion in the Valorant community who agreed with the former CSGO veteran. Many have called for nerfs for the two weapons to try and bring back balance back to pistol rounds, making them more fair, to be honest. Cloud9 White's Melanie Mel Capone likened the first few rounds of the game as a coin flip, seeing the loadouts with the Stinger or Frenzy can still shred teams who are still building their economy. The real issue is not playing strong weapons. The real issue is that their weapons are actually super RNG if you hit your shots or not. Cinder's spread's so weird, it really depends if you're gonna hit that headshot and basically win the round, or if you're gonna just, you know, have to save 3 more rounds. When we got previous nerfs for these weapons, it only applied to the Phantom, right? It didn't apply to these two weapons, and at close enough ranges, a burst from either of those have a good chance of tagging an opponent's head and potentially even killing them. Though it's obviously not a one-shot kill, the flurry of bullets from the rest of the clip can make the light work of a couple of players at a time. The problem gets even worse when you consider how much of an impact this can have an in-game where the regular format is the 1st to 13. So the rounds are much more important than the 1st to 16 or 1st to 30. Now, the problem was pretty much huge, and everyone didn't like the new Frenzy meta, so Valorant designers and Valorant developers actually decided to respond to this as they usually do.
No plans for running accuracy with SMGs. Like, generally speaking, SMGs and you know, the Frenzy are going to be better on the run than other weapons. Whether they're too effective right now is something that I'm still like looking at and trying to understand. Because it's a tough balance when these weapons are, you know, meant to be pretty effective at that particular thing that is frustrating people, right? But yeah, it is a level of efficacy that, you know, I'm trying to understand and tune back to a point that, like, it still feels good in those moments, and you can use it for that. But, you know, it doesn't feel as frustrating, but it's going to be frustrating no matter what. Yeah, and some things to do with range, like range is something that, you know, I've hopefully tuned properly with the, you know, for the Stinger. We'll see that in the next patch, and you know, that's what I'm excited for everybody's opinion on, really. So yeah.
And this is how they responded. Valorant game designer Nicholas Wu Smith, who works on premium content and weapon balance, teased the range nerf to the Stinger in the next patch on his Twitch Q&A. Range is something I've hopefully tuned properly for the Stinger. We'll see that for the next patch. I'm excited for everyone's opinion on it. However, he said that there were no plans to adjust the SMG running accuracy, as the weapons are designed to be good running and gunning. I don't think the real problem is the Frenzy being too random. Now that is just my thought, but the real problem is being the Frenzy too expensive. Even people on Reddit are actually telling everyone in Valorant that the Frenzy is just simply too cheap. 400 is pocket change in Valorant so far, and I think you can seriously get a lot for your work. 400 is basically a low armor. And I think the devs have probably teased that the next patch is gonna be a bit sooner than Act 2 Episode 2, or it could be in fact at the time of Act 2 Episode 2. That we shall see pretty soon, but considering that Act 2 Episode 2 is coming pretty soon, and we are getting something on the 23rd, it could be potentially then. But who knows, such fixes are very demanded right now, and we will be getting some pretty good changes pretty much soon. But if you're watching this video right now, the point of this video is that the developers are actually communicating with us, telling us what they want and what the people want, so basically what the community wants, and so far it's looking pretty good. Yes, the Stinger is strong, yes, you have an awesome aim, however, sometimes it's just a bit of luck. Now, if you don't believe me, by the end of this video, I'm gonna show you this clip, and maybe it convinces you that Frenzy is just a bit too strong.
Nice. Oh, they're there. Shit. On site.
One enemy remaining.
But they're on site. Jet's on site, I think.
Damn, that was mine, you shit.
So in conclusions, no strong weapon is safe from the Valorant devs. Now leave a like if you want more content like this, it does help me out a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you until next time. This is Fatman, Valorant, sign out. Peace guys.